Hashem, Parachat Tetze-The. In the beginning of the Parachat Tetze-The, there's a very interesting and complicated subject. Kasher le'avin. It's very hard to understand. But again, we saw already a few times, when it's getting too complicated to understand, the only window and opening we can understand it is only al pi asod, the secrets of the Torah, right? Which are revealed to us by the big Kabbalists, by the big commentaries. One of the big commentaries, Perush Achi, which is the most means Kabbalistic, is Or HaChaim HaKadosh, which a lot of people learn. You don't have to be a Kabbalist to learn Or HaChaim HaKadosh. Hasidim, they learn Or HaChaim HaKadosh every week, right? But Or HaChaim HaKadosh mavi harbe sodot, many secrets, things that open our eyes, that even if we don't understand fully, we grasp. We we have achiza, what's called. Achiza means we start to understand. And when Mashiach is going to come, we'll understand fully. But one of the hardest parts, there's many hard parts, but one of the hardest parts in the Torah is the beginning of our week's parasha. We have to understand, we never break a rule to make things easy. לא שוברים כללים בשביל For example, you won't tell somebody, you know what, you're weak, so maybe you should eat a little bit not kosher. Go buy yourself a McDonald's sandwich, you're going to be stronger. And after that, you can come to the synagogue. You don't break rules. A rule is a rule. Yes, there's an exception, what we call, that somebody's pikuach nefesh, somebody's in a danger, right? Is a physical danger or spiritual danger. Then you can bend rules, not break, bend. Example, somebody on Shabbat, he doesn't feel good. Could I call an ambulance for him? Could I call Atzala? Oh no, you have to save him, right? So the Torah says, there's a pasuk for that. V'chai bahem. The Torah wants you to be living, not to dead, not to die. You don't have to die to be a Jew, right? You have to live and be a Jew, right? So if a person is in danger, Tatziloto, call Hatzala, you're going to transport him, they're going to give him whatever he needs, and then Ishmor Shabbatot Arbe, he'll be able to eat a lot of Shabbat. But we don't break a rule just for breaking a rule, right? This week's parasha, like we're breaking one of the biggest rules, the biggest, right? What's the enemy, Yetzer Hara, number one that Jews are facing today, according to all the statistics, is assimilation. Why? They say in America, the assimilation reached already 75%, right? Means it eats up 75% of our nation in America, besides the rest of the world. People get married to non-Jews, reforms, conservatives, right? People that convert girls that are not the right way. We're already at 75%, which means in few years, what's going to be? Yes, there's Baruch Hashem, still all Orthodox Jews, right? Jews that didn't mix, but they're not so religious, but they're Jews 100%. Yes, but assimilation is killing our people, right? So let's start this week's parasha. Not to understand. You go to war. Jewish soldier, right? Jewish soldier. Smack in the beginning. V'ra'ita b'shivya eshet yifat toar. With your eyes, you see a beautiful lady. Girl. She could be married, not married. Rashi says it does not make a difference. Even if she's married, according to the Torah, she's not considered married. Marriage, according to the Torah, is only Jewish marriage. Are at mekudeshet li kedat Moshe v'Yisrael. I'm sanctifying you according to the laws of Moshe and Israel. What is sanctifying? When you take an animal that outside in the field and you say, Are ze korban. What do? You sanctify the animal, no one can eat it anymore. The only way to use of it is to bring it to Beit HaMikdash, to slaughter it, to make a korban. Sanctification means you are consecrating the object to God, right? Or to yourself sometimes. This is one of the forms, tabat. when you give a ring to a girl, and you say, Are at mekudeshet li kedat Moshe Israel, mekudeshet, you are sanctified now. Sanctified means you cannot go with no man anymore. Right? By Goyim, there's no such concept. Will you marry me? Yes. Witnesses? No witness? No. Will you marry me? Yes. Okay. The next day, they start punching each other, right? And she can cheat on him. There's no eshetish. There's no eshetish. So Rashi says, you go to war, you see a beautiful girl, could be married or not married, right? You want her, right? What do you mean you want her? She's not Jewish. So the Torah says, yeah, take her. Take her. You can take her. You can even be with her over there in the war, where the war is taking place. You can even be with her one time. According to the Gemara explains, right? Then, Vavetal toch betecha, bring her to your house. And then you convert her, but you have to wait at least 30 days. Right? Sounds so weird. Since when a conversion takes 30 days? Today is 3 years a conversion, right? 2 years. Minimum 1 year, right? Not 30 days. And how can you tell him, oh, you like her? Take her. You can be with her over there. Just bring her to the house after, right? There's a small process that you have to go through. What's the process? You bring her home. Take off her beautiful robe. Let her shave off her hair, right? Grow her nails, right? And then after a month, if you're really sure you want her, okay, you can take her. How do they understand such a thing? Right? What? The Torah says, you know what? We're looking for soldiers. No one wants to go to war. If you come to the army, we'll give you a Goya, you know? This is an incentive. Okay, everybody becomes soldiers. This is why it sounds like it. It sounds like you're telling the boys, you know what, no one wants to go to the army? I'll give you a Goya. Oh, give me a Goya, beautiful Goya. I can choose whatever I want. Okay, that sounds interesting. Chas v'shalom, chas v'chalila. That's what it looks like. If you don't understand, if you don't read, right? If you don't study what the Torah wants, what the Torah exactly is giving over here, right? So again, pshat, to understand, it's like you're breaking a rule. The rule says you cannot go with a non-Jewish woman. You have to stick in your nation, Jews with Jews, a Jewish boy with a Jewish girl, right? And especially you're married already. Some of them are married, right? So here comes the Or HaChaim HaKadosh, Rabbi Chaim Ben Atar. And he says the only way to understand this, right? We have to understand, first of all, before we get to this, we have to understand who are we talking about? Who are we talking about? A soldier. What's a Jewish soldier? Just because he's wearing those green clothes and it says Tzah, it didn't exist at the time of Moshe Rabbeinu. We're talking about time of Moshe Rabbeinu. People wore tunic. They didn't wear special war clothes and everything. So what's a criteria to a Jewish soldier? So we have to go back last week's Parachat. We have to go back last week's Shofetim. Towards the end of Parasha, who wants to go to war? Who wants to go to war? People come, right? Selection. Let's do a selection now. Comes the Kohen. Mi ha'ish asher eras isha. Who is the man that just got married this year? Or just got engaged this year, right? Yelech ve'ashuv lebeto. Please go back home. We don't need you. We don't want you. Go back. Till you get married. Till you will be passing a year with your wife. After we'll talk. Right now we don't need you. Please go home. Okay. Mi ha'ish. Who is the man that bought a house and didn't do Chanukat Habayit? He didn't inaugurate his house yet. No, inviting 10 people, doing Chanukat Habayit, sanctifying the house. So you bought a new house, you renovated the house, you didn't do Chanukat Habayit? Please go back. We don't need you in our army. The Jewish army, the Israeli army doesn't need you. Go back home. Mi ha'ish. Who is the man that bought a vineyard and he just planted new plants of vines, but he didn't have a chance yet to taste the raisins? It's the first year. It didn't give fruits yet, right? So the guy raises his hand. Okay, please go home. We don't need you. We don't want you. You're not one of us, one of the soldiers we're looking for. Go home. Then comes the fourth announcement. Mi ha'ish hayareh v'rach halevav. Who is a scary cat? Cannot see war, cannot see blood, cannot see weapons. please go back home. We don't want you. We don't need you. You're not good for us, right? Comes Rabbi Yossi in the Gemara, says, what do you mean he's scared? Everybody's scared from war. You see anybody wants to go to war, right? Anybody's scared. War is scary. You don't know if you're coming alive or not. You have to go to war, so you have to be strong, but who is not scared? You're scared from war. Says Rabbi Yossi, when the Torah says who is the one who is scared from a war, not from the physical war, he's scared because he did a sin. He sinned. Please, if you have the smallest sin possible, don't come to war with us. We don't need you. You're dangerous for us. We are looking for 100% tzaddikim. Big Kabbalists, big rabbis, big dayanim, big chachamim. Those are the soldiers we're looking for. Just the opposite. You want the rabbis to go to war, right? We want tzaddikim. What type of a sin will be eliminating a soldier from being kosher for the Jewish army? Comes Rabbi Yossi and says, you know what type of a sin? Every morning we put tefillin. So we have two boxes. We have tefillin shel yad, tefillin shel rosh. So we do one beracha, we do one blessing. We bless on tefillin shel yad, lanech tefillin, and we include tefillin shel rosh. We include the right. Even though Ashkenaz do two berachot, but after the second one they say Baruch Shem Kevod Malchut Olamed, as if to nullify the second bracha because it's a safek. It's a doubt if you have to say it or not. They tell you, once in your life, did it happen to you that when you put the tefillin, you were still asleep, your friend came, Yaakov, how are you doing? Oh, Boker Tov. Oh, I was not supposed to say that. You know what's going to happen? Next time there's going to be a war, and they're going to call to war. It says, who had the sin? Who did the sin? You're the first one going out of the line. Speaking between tefillin shel yad and tefillin shel rosh disqualifies you from being a soldier. You're not a tzaddik anymore. This is the type of tzaddikim we're talking about. Which means what? If this is the only sin that this person did, you know what level he is already? He's up there. But even up there, not good enough. You have to be high up. 100% tzaddik, not 99.9, 100%. You spoke between tefillin shel yad, tefillin shel rosh, you're not joining the army. This is the type of soldiers we're talking about. Okay? Now the question becomes even stronger. What do you mean? If we're talking about those soldiers, how can he go to war and see a beautiful woman? And you tell him, you know what, you like her? Take her. Bring her home, convert her, 30 days, she's yours. If he's tzaddik, does he think about not Jewish girls or not Jewish ladies? It's impossible. So the question is even harder. If this is the type of soldiers we're talking about, right? That's why when they went to war, there were never dead soldiers. And the Jewish soldiers, never. 100% going to war, coming back. 100%. You go with 1,000 soldiers, 1,000 come back. You go 2,000, you go 20,000, you go 100,000 soldiers, 100,000 come back. No dead. Because it's super tzaddikim. Nothing can happen to them. The Torah guarantees them. Right? So how the super tzaddikim go fall in love with the Goya? And you telling him it's okay. The Torah, it's okay. Take her. You want to take her. I say. Comes the Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh and he says, no, 1 second. We have to understand. Because there are such tzaddikim, their sight is not the same as me and you. They penetrate into the material. They go into the material, which means what? When a person looks at a fish, a person looks at a table, he sees Jewish sparks. Sparks means like partials of neshamot, of Jewish souls. So when he sees not Jewish lady, what does he see? Jewish souls. And let me explain you what does it mean. It's not so simple. Every morning, right? Every morning we say one of the Birkot HaShachar is Shelo Asani Goy. right? Every morning, one of the blessings. Thank you, Hashem, for not creating me a goy. Thank you, Hashem, my father and my mother are Jewish, and I was born in a Jewish family, and thank you, Hashem. Okay. Chamim, so it's, to be Jewish is a privilege, you know? To be Jewish is a privilege, okay? Shelo asani goy, Baruch ata Hashem. Comes the Magen Avraham, he says, no, that's not the meaning. That's one of the meanings, but that's not the real meaning. The deeper meaning, Shelo asani goy, it's brought down also in the Ben Ish Chai, right? No, the Magen Avraham, which is before the Ben Ish Chai, explains, and the Ben Ish Chai explains us a little bit deeper. There is a line. There is a line. Timeline. It's called midnight. Midnight. What is midnight? That's when the morning starts to come in. From sunset, the night, you go through the night, you come to midnight, that's it. The night as if it's reached the top. Now, starts the day. Slowly, 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 slowly. That's why David HaMelech would wake up every midnight. Midnight is a point to interchange neshamot. What does it mean? Says the Rabbi Ish Chai, from the nightfall till midnight, at chatzot, neshamot go up to heavens. So if somebody goes to sleep, his neshama go up. Okay? After midnight, the neshamot starts to come down. Okay? Before midnight, you're knocked out. You're 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, you start already to like wake up. You're not fully up. Some people can sleep through the day, you know? But the neshama starts to wake up a little bit, right? Says the Rabbi Ish Chai, that's why it's very important every night to sleep before midnight. Every night. Why? Because you're going with the sense of with the direction of the traffic. Going to sleep after midnight, basically you're sending your neshama up, but there's already neshamot coming down, so you're going against traffic. You're going against traffic. Okay? So that's why the Kabbalists, if you go to Israel, the Kabbalists, they always go to sleep 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, that's it, they're asleep. They wake up 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, they wake up already. Comes the Magen Avraham, and he's teaching us something amazing. But you have to be a Magen Avraham to say this. When the neshamot come down to earth, to the bodies, it is possible that the neshama makes a mistake. What does it mean? Instead of going back to her body, she goes to another body. And this body is not necessarily a Jew, can be a goy. So this neshama goes to a goy. Comes the neshama of the goy, she wants to go, hey, somebody's already in the house. What am I doing? I have to look for an empty house. So, oh, there's this guy, Yaakov. He has no soul. Let me go inside him. Boom. She goes inside Yaakov. What's going to happen the next morning? You know what's going to happen? The goy wakes up. Wow, I want to be Jewish. I want to be Jewish. I want to be Jewish. I want to convert. Last night you ate in McDonald's. Last night you went to the casino, Hard Rock. Why do you want to be Jewish? He's carrying now a Jewish soul. The Jew soul tells him, hello, I'm Jewish. I want you to, I cannot stay in your body. I want to become Jewish. The guy the next morning writes, where is Chabad? Where I cannot convert? Starts the conversion process. What happens to the Jew? He wakes up in the morning. Hey, what am I doing? Let me go to McDonald's to have a nice breakfast, and bacon and eggs and. מה קרה לך? You just said slichot yesterday. You're already going to McDonald's. מה קרה לך? No, because the soul that he's carrying now is a soul of a goy. So it's carrying him to the wrong direction. Baruch Ata Hashem. Every morning you wake up and your soul, the Jewish soul, came back to you. You have to say a bracha, says the Magen Avraham in Shulchan Aruch. Shelo asani goy, that did not give me a goyish soul, in me. That my own soul, the Jewish soul, came back to me. Mistakes could happen. In Israel, there was a famous case 15 years ago, or maybe, 15 years ago. There was a guy in Shas, in the party of Shas in Israel. He was very close to Rav Ovadia Yosef. The guy didn't move nothing without asking Rav Ovadia, Should I do this? What's the decisions? What the political decisions? Halacha decisions? One morning he wakes up, he decides he's becoming Arab. He wants to litaslim. He wants to become Islamist. He grabs his wife with 2 boys, 2 children. He grabs them, he takes them to Ramallah. He converts over there, and he's forcing his wife and children to be with him. There was itaslim. And there was a whole operation to save the wife and the 2 children. They had to go over there in the middle of the night to pull them out. How does a guy, and what's his name? Yosef Cohen. Listen, more than that, Cohen. מה קורה לך? You did yesterday Birkat Kohanim. You give Birkat Kohanim to the whole Kahal. You wake up in the morning, you want to become Islamist. מה קרה לך? Where does it come from? Where is the idea? It's not like he was sitting on the idea and thinking, one, boom, overnight. שלא עשני גוי. All the rabbis said that. That's what happened. Go know now the lucky goy that got a neshama of a Kohen. This goy that got his neshama of a Kohen, wow, what a zchut. אתה מבין? Coming back to our subject, coming back to over here says the Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh. Those Jewish soldiers, they saw a beautiful woman. You think means beautiful physical? No, it's not the physics. Beautiful means they see in her, she has a Jewish soul. And now the soldier, what does he want to do? To bring her back to the Jewish camp, to convert her, so the potential of the Jewish soul can come back, can go out of her and become a Jewish, part of the Jewish nation. But this thing is very dangerous. You're stepping in a place full of mines. In a minefield. You're into a minefield. Why? The Torah warns you. It's gonna explode on you. You went into doing something. You know why? Because when Jewish souls fall on the other side, the forces of evil, they grab to them and they don't let them come down. I'll explain to you. They say, David HaMelech, how was David HaMelech born? If we go back in history, let's go back in history, all the way back to Yaakov Avinu. What happened to the soul of David HaMelech? Even more, we have to go back to Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu, Lot. Lot commits an incest. He goes with his 2 daughters. One of his daughters, the older one, becomes pregnant from him, and she calls her boy, the boy that she's going to have with her father, Moab. This Moab is going to become a nation. This kid is going to become a nation, right? And Ruth HaMoaviyah is going to come out of it. Ruth HaMoaviyah is not Jewish, but she marries a Jewish boy, Machlon, and then she marries his brother, Chilion. She's married 2 brothers. She's married one after the other. Both of them die. Then she comes to Israel. Then she marries Boaz. Then she has a son called Oved. Oved has Ishai. Ishai has David. The brothers of David, the Jewish people said David is not Jewish because he comes from Ruth HaMoaviyah, and Ruth HaMoaviyah was not Jewish. That's what was the thought in the beginning, right? Says the Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh, the same thing, Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh over there, he says, one second, there was another step, there's another link in those steps. There's another link. What's the link? He says that Yehuda, the son of Yaakov Avinu, goes with his daughter-in-law, Tamar. And with his daughter-in-law, they have twins, Peretz and Zerach. Who is Peretz? Peretz is the great-great-great-father of David HaMelech. From Peretz came, after Boaz, came Oved, came Ishai, came David. Says the Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh, I don't understand. How does Hashem let those things happen? Lot commits incest with his 2 daughters, has Moab. Yehuda commits like an incest with his daughter-in-law, he has Zerach, Peretz, and Peretz is going to give birth to our Mashiach, to Mashiach ben David. How is it possible? Okay? Explain the Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh. The soul of David HaMelech was captured by the evil forces they didn't let go. They didn't let go of Saul. They didn't want David HaMelech to be born. Actually, the Midrash is telling us he was supposed to be born for 3 hours and live for 3 hours and die. He was supposed to live not more than 3 hours. Adam HaRishon gave him 70 years. So what's happening over here? Hashem has to create a situation. He is creating a situation where the evil forces would say, oh, from this, nothing good is going to come out. Yeah. When we're off guard, like, you know, when you're on guard, like you put all your attention. Off guard means, this is not dangerous, this is nothing. What does Hashem do? Hashem makes Lot go with his daughters, Yehuda go with his daughter-in-law. What does Hashem do? Hashem says, give me this neshama of David. You see this, he went with his daughter-in-law, so I'm just going to throw it in there. You mind? Nah, you can do it. We don't. It's going to come back to us. There's no problem. This is evil. This is bad. This is going to come back to us. Yeah, Hashem, you can do that. Once Hashem releases it, the neshama from them, and puts it there, He makes sure it stays in the world, and it stays and it directs it to the right direction. So sometimes you need those type of situations, right, to bring a holy neshama to the world. Coming back to here, what's happening over here? He's the soldier, which is a tzaddik, 100% tzaddik. He sees that there is like a sparks, there's like a Jewish soul in this Goya, and he wants to bring it back, right? So he says, you know what? Let me take her, let me bring her, convert her. But the Torah tells him, you're walking into a field of minds. You know? Minefield. You know why? You know why? Because the evil forces are not going to let you go. They're going to make sure to run after you. What can they do to him? What are they going to do to him? So the Torah tells us what to do to him. He's marrying this lady, converts her, marries her. And then it says, you wanted so much to do the mitzvah, you wake up one morning and you start hating her. You hate the lady, you hate the girl. Usna'a. You have hate for her. Why? Yesterday you loved her, today you hate her. This is one consequence. Consequence number 2. She's already pregnant from you. And she's going to have a boy with you. You know what's going to be this boy? This boy is called Ben Sorer Umore. Rebellious child. Lo shomea bekol aviv v'imo. He does not listen not to his father, not to his mother. He eats meat the whole day. He drinks wine in big quantities. When he's not going to have money, he's willing even to kill people just to take their money. The Torah says, we know what you should do? Bring him to the Sanhedrin to be killed. It's better sheyamut zakai. Let him die righteous and not wait to the point he's going to start killing people for having his meat and wine, and then he's going to be dying, but then he's going to die with guilt, right? So the Torah is telling you, you went into a minefield, but it's going to explode on you. You were about to do a very big mitzvah, but the evil forces are not going to let you go. They're going to run after you. They're going to make sure you're going to hate the girl, and they're going to make sure you're going to have a son that you're going to regret having her. Why? Because you went into a place that only Hashem can go in those places. Only Hashem can bring the neshama of David down. He's creating a situation where the evil forces, what now? They're going to revenge Hashem? Oh, they cannot revenge Hashem. If Hashem does it, it's okay. But we understand now, we start to understand, what does it mean? Go to war, you like a woman, you bring her, you convert her 30 days, right? And you take her, and you have a son with her. Let's go to Nevi'im, to our prophets. David, Melachim, Sefer Melachim. David HaMelech. David HaMelech, he was a leader. He was like a general army, right? He used to go in the front of the war. He had 400 kids like this. Every war he would go, he would bring back those women. He had 400 kids. They were different from all the Israelite kids, because the Gemara Kiddushim is teaching us that they used to have a chup. You know what's a chup? Chup is either, there's a discussion, how is it? Either they would grow their hair very, very big over here in the front, like they do, the young people. Mohawk? No, not like they will grow a big.
Unicorn.
Those young little guys. They shave, everything is shaved, everything is shaved nicely, and over here you have like a broom. Okay? Or it's like a ponytail. 400 kids like this. 400. Nothing happened to him. One of the 400, Avshalom, gets up one day, he wants to kill David. He wants to kill his father. What does he do? How does he rebel? How does he rebel against his father? He takes all these women. He takes all these women, the wives of David. He takes the wives of David. He sleeps with them. The next day he chases his father out of the palace, wanting to kill him. David HaMelech is running away from him. He is running after his father to kill his father. Look at Psalm 3, Gimel, in Tehillim. Mizmor leDavid, beborcho mipnei Avshalom beno. He's singing, thank you Hashem. You gave me such a son. He's running after me. He wants to kill me. Everybody's asking, what are you thanking Hashem? Because he understands. He brought upon himself this situation. Who told you to take those ladies? Who told you to bring? The mother of this boy, Avshalom, was called Ma'acha. She was a daughter of a king, Melech Gashur. So she was like a princess, right? But still, she's a Goya. You brought her, right? You had a kid with her. So David HaMelech, believe it or not, he wanted to go worship Avodah Zarah. They asked him, why are you doing that? He says, because I don't want people to say my own son killed me. So at least if he kills him, so people would say, oh, you know why his son killed him? Because he was Oved Avodah Zarah. He worshipped Avodah Zarah. So his son had the right to kill him, which is not true. But he tried. And then his counselors, they told him, don't do that. Hashem is going to save you. Don't worry. Hashem is going to be with you. And that's what happened. As Avshalom is running after his father, he had massive hair, right? He ran, he was on a horse. He was running after David to kill him, almost catching David. His hair got caught in branches of a tree. Allah. It was a type of a tree called Allah. And when David and his soldiers, which are running away, saw that, right away they made a U-turn and they killed him. David cried for him. He said, it's not your fault, because he blamed himself, right? But you see, there is consequences, right? So you cannot say, I want to marry this girl, she's not Jewish, but I'm going to bring... You're walking in the minefield, right? Yes, maybe you're doing the most, holy mission, if you want, right? But believe me, there's a lot of Jewish souls you can get on the street. You don't have to go in war. You don't have to go see girls. There's so many souls Jewish people lost, right? I was speaking to a rabbi on Shabbat. He was telling me something amazing. We were speaking. So he told me, you know how hard it is to go to collect money for yeshiva. He was collecting for yeshiva. He told me, you go to places, you don't have the right food, and you're not in your house, and you don't sleep right, and you depend on people, and you're embarrassed. So I told him, it's a midrash. Teref natan le'rav. Teref means food he gave to the ones who fear him. God gave food for the ones who fear him. Says the midrash, don't read teref, food. Teruf. Teruf means like madness. What do you mean madness? Says the Rav Lapian, Rabbi Eliyahu Lapian, he says the following thing. He says, for a shaliach to go turn in the world, right? He goes to places where no rabbis sometimes go. No? And over there's one Jew, two Jews, a community who knows nothing from Judaism. By coming there and collecting the money, he might do something good for them. So the rabbi, as I'm telling him this, he told me, you don't believe. What happened to me? Now you're telling me I realized something, he told me. What did he realize? He went to collect money in Staten Island. He had a relative over there. You're from Staten Island? Good. He had a relative there. Now Staten Island becomes very big. There's a lot of yeshivas. But before, a few years before, there wasn't such a great community over there. And especially his cousin, or he told me he was not religious. He comes there, and he tells his cousin, there's a minyan in the morning. He says, "There's a minyan. Minyan only Rosh Hashanah Kippur. This is minyan." He says, "What do you mean? He's coming from Israel every day minyan. He cannot miss minyan, any minyan. You tell him, what do you want from me? He says, please, you don't have friends. Call 9 of your friends, 8 of your friends. Let's do minyan tomorrow. Bet HaKnesset, we go to Bet HaKnesset. So the guy felt bad for his cousin, comes from Israel, a rabbi coming from Israel. So he brought 8 friends, and they made minyan the next morning. They didn't know nothing. Some of them didn't have the feeling, but they made the minyan. They made the minyan. He told me he was staying a week there. Every day they had minyan, shachrit, mincha, and arvit. With those not religious people. After he tells me, I think they continued after I left. Hashem is sending him, to a place, lost Jews, lost souls, And he's going to collect money, he's embarrassed and everything. But look where Hashem is sending you. To take 10 Jewish souls and make them pray in the middle of the week, which they never done. They prayed once a year, Rosh Hashanah Kippur. That's what Hashem is doing to us. So in the street, there's so many lost Jews. And it's interesting in the Parashat, if you just go one page, you turn one page in the Parashat, you turn the book. One page in the book, it speaks about if you find a lost sheep of your brother, give it back to your brother. Say the commentaries, what's the lost sheep? What is the Torah? The lost sheep means a lost soul, a lost Jewish soul. You have a brother, his soul is lost from him. Bring him back. Bring him back to Torah, mitzvot. Make him keep Shabbat. Make him keep kosher. Make him do mitzvot. Put tefillin every day. Yeah, sometimes a Jew, do you put tefillin? He's telling you, no. Since his bar mitzvah, he didn't put tefillin. When you see a guy, 50 years old, never put tefillin in his life. So you tell him, come on. You cannot, 2 minutes, two. Just put tefillin is 1 minute. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, Baruch, Shem, Kevo Malchut Olam V'ed. That's it. Take off tefillin. 2 minutes. You cannot consecrate 2 minutes of your time to Hashem. 2 minutes. You know what mitzvah you made them do? Big mitzvah. You never know. He's going to end up maybe doing more. But if you just got him to say Shema Yisrael with tefillin, you did a big mitzvah. You returned the Jewish soul to his owner. When you see a Jewish soul which is lost, where a Jewish sheep which is lost, give it back to an owner. You see a neshama, give it back to her. Hashem is giving us opportunities every day in our workplace, even the synagogue. Sometimes people come for azkara. So they come for a friend that invited them, The guy you see, he doesn't know. To open a siddur, he doesn't know, right? So you tell him, you listen to Advar Torah, you never know. This week's parasha is teaching us, don't go too deep. Like this soldier, he went too deep, right? This is putting himself in danger, right? He's a tzaddik, but listen, as tzaddik as you are, you cannot go too deep. But, which means you cannot go to dangerous places. You can't. There's few rabbis in the world who are able to do that. I'll mention to you one. In Israel, there's a yeshiva called, we spoke about the commentary of Orach Chaim HaKadosh, Rabbi Chaim Ben Atar. There's a yeshiva in Israel called Orach Chaim HaKadosh. Who is the head of this yeshiva? Rabbi Reuven Elbaz. Rabbi Reuven Elbaz, 30 years ago, you know what he used to do? He was young. You know what he used to do? He would go to nightclubs in Israel, and pull out boys and make them... Okay. Rabbi Reuven Elbaz. He would go to nightclubs. You know how dangerous to go to nightclubs? People are drunk and you see girls are naked. And he went to nightclubs, pull out some boys, started to talk Torah with them outside, 5-10 minutes, bring him to the yeshiva next morning, put tefillin. You know how many souls he returned b'tshuva? After him came other rabbis, Rav Amnon Yitzchak, and this rabbi, and again, and this. But he was the first one to... No one can do that. You cannot go to a nightclub, right? But he was able to do that. He said, you know what? I'm going for it. The interesting part is, his wife was also doing the same thing with girls. She was working with the girls' part, and he was working with the boys. His wife fell sick, very sick, and she needed blood transfusion. Every time they would give her blood, her body would reject it. She came to a point she was in total danger. They went to ask Rav Mordechai Eliyahu, Zecher Tzedek Kodesh Baruch was alive. He told them, Ma'osim, what are we doing with the rabbi? With the rabbi's wife, Ma'osim. He told them, listen, this woman, she made so many girls come back b'tshuva and become Jewish, not Jewish, religious, keep Shabbat, keep kosher, afrashat challah, this and that. Her body is so pure, the only blood she would be able to absorb is from those girls that she'd returned b'tshuva. Go find girls that she made them do tshuva, get blood from them, and she'll be okay. That's exactly what happened. Right away, they knew a lot of girls. She made like hundreds of them. They asked blood, I don't know, B or O, whatever it is. They asked the blood for their blood. They gave it to her, and she was okay. He says their body became so pure. You know, Avraham Avinu and Sarah, what did they do, Avraham and Sarah, the whole day? Converting people. Avraham מגר את האנשים, ושרה מגר את האנשים. Okay? That's what they did. But again, it's only for elite, right? But you can do it every day. You see another religious Jew, they have no siddur. Give him a siddur. Let's do Shema Israel together. You know, just Shema. You have to do it in a way the guy feel comfortable, right? Because basically a lot of those people, they want to do tshuva, they're embarrassed. They don't know how to start. They don't know what to do, right? You have this root, you know. Rav Chaim Volozhin says, if you take one person in this world and make him do tshuva, you gain your olam haba. One person. You don't need more and more. If your soul came down here for 70 years to make tshuva for one person, zachita ba'olam haba. You got a big bonus in the next world. One person. If you do 2, if you do 10, if you do 100, you never know, right? It's a mission. You have to know the boundaries of the mission. You cannot go too far. You cannot do too deep into it. But it's something that is doable and something which is our mission, right? And now, with this explanation, Shabbat, when we come and we see that, we're not shocked. You're going to see a lot of people on Shabbat, the first thing they come to the rabbi, wow, you're allowed to marry Goya, נכון? מה פתאום? Wow, Rabbi, ma. You know, those who are looking for, some people are looking for the right things. The right away they find the Torah. מה פתאום? Yeah, but look, Rabbi, come to the shul or listen to the shul, and after we'll talk. No. That Hashem we should be merited to first of all to chozer b'tshuva ourselves, and then to return others b'tshuva. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen.